Now, you may have scenarios within your organization where you may have multiple payroll clerks or payroll users, and you may want to limit the access to some employees' information from some of these payroll clerks. As an example, you might have directors within your organization, and maybe only your senior payroll people you would want to have access to these directors' information. So let's go ahead and add 2 directors. So Joshua is a director, and let's just say he was born during that time, and maybe he's a part-time, right? Married, and let's say our directors both joined on March 1st. And we've made a host of fields required, so let's go ahead and fill these out. And of course, the job title, director X, we don't have that, so we'll need to add that job title. Nonetheless, I'll go ahead and save, and both directors are $250,000. They earn $250,000 per month. All right, there we go, and I'll go ahead and add the second director. And we have another oldie here. Once again, we'll set that this director joined on March the 1st, and this director is from Barbies and married. Good, there you go. So we now have 2 directors within our system. If we go to our employees list, yeah, we'll see that our 2 directors are here. Now, what if we did not want employees to see these directors or certain employees? So once again, I'll go and let's add a second payroll clerk, and let's say our payroll clerk's name is Xiu Chin. All right, so Xiu Chin, and I'm gonna say normal user, and Xiu is a payroll clerk. I'll hit save there. And there you go. So we now have an account for Xiu within the system. And what I'll do is, let me log in an incognito window to Xiu's account, so you can see what that looks like. Good. So let me just pull Xiu's account over here. And here we can see that Xiu has access to the director's information, right? And you can see I'm logged in as Xiu here. Now, what if we didn't want this employee to see those directors' information? How can we achieve that? You can achieve that with a feature called classifications in TechlifyHR. So how you go about adding a classification is that you just say, okay, let's call this one directors, and here you have a host of options, but for right now we'll just say that this is the title. You give it a title, and you need to really read this in detail to understand, because sometimes this can be complicated to set up. We want to say, hey, only users with these roles will get access to the restricted employees. So who do we want to access? Firstly, who are the employees we want to restrict? We want our 2 directors to be restricted. And who do we want to access these restricted employees? And let's say maybe we want our payroll manager and our administrator, or rather our HR manager, to access these employees. So I'll go ahead and hit save. So once we hit save, we see that payroll manager and HR manager are the persons who get to access these employees. And let me just take a step back and ensure that my account, and I'm using Training Inc. here, let me ensure that my account has, so I'm going to say normal user. I'll say that I am both payroll manager and HR manager. I can switch this back to admin and hit save. All right, yeah, so you'll see there. And if I come back to employees, and let me just go ahead and refresh this page, There we go. We'll see I still have access to the directors. However, if I come back over to Xiu's account here and I go to employees now, we will see that Xiu no longer has access to Josh, Direk Tah, and Joshua. Right? So that there is how you would go about limiting access to employees' profile from specific roles in the system. And then let's just take a step back and look at this classification once again. What we're saying in the classification is that, hey, this is the name and these are the employees that we're limiting access to. Right? So these are the employees that we are blocking access to everyone excepting the persons who have any of these roles. It doesn't have to be both of them, either of them. So later on, if you go and add a new payroll manager or you add a new HR manager to your system, they will automatically be able to see the information for the directors or whichever employees you add to the classifications. And that's a quick overview of how you use classifications in TechlifyHR.